What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. The new Team Go Rocket event has started in Pokemon Go, with it coming some new shadows, as well as the ability to TM off frustration on some of those Pokemon that you've been saving up. I wanted to take this opportunity to use some of the new shadows, well, specifically Shadow Auroras, a Pokemon which I think in the Retro Cup is going to be fantastic without the Steel types there to wall all of its energy. I'm going to use a triple Shadow team as well, so it's going to be a lot of fun today. Let's see what we can do with this new Pokemon. Let's get right on into it. You can see our team Shadow Auroras in the lead against a Cricketune. All right. Well, that's an interesting way to start the video. Keep in mind, I'm in the 3100s right now. This player knows what they're doing. They intentionally brought a Cricketune into the Go Battle League. So this is going to be a very interesting thing to see here. I don't even know this thing's moveset. They go for an X-Scissor. I probably could have survived that. I was worried about like a Trailblazer or something, but no, I guess we end up seeing a catch as well. Meteor Beam nearly one-shotting the Furret. Great start right now. Meteor Beam is honestly a pretty crazy move. It's a move you don't see on too many Pokemon. Auroras is probably the best Pokemon to take advantage of it, and you can see it boosts your attack stat and just does a massive amount of damage, which is why I feel like Auroras with the Shadow boost is just so fun. And comes, I guess, the Cricketune once again. We have nearly back-to-back Weather Ball. Now that our attack is boosted, our opponent likely is going to be forced into a shield. We do see a shield and another Weather Ball thrown very shortly after. At this point, Auroras has done so much work. I can't believe it's already able to one-shot a Furret in a meta where Furret's going to be everywhere, just barely not reach a Weather Ball once again. But now Shadow Jumpluff can come in and see what their final Pokemon is going to be. Fortunately for us, while we are kind of weak to the Ice typing with our Jumpluff, we have our Shadow Primeape, which with a shield can easily get to 2 Rage Hits before taking a Weather Ball, or rather an Icicle Spear from this Pokemon, and we should be able to win this matchup. Rage Hits being thrown, it does a decent chunk of damage. Karate Chops are doing a lot, but not quite enough to farm them down. I'll have to throw a move before they can attack us with their next Icicle Spear. Rage Hits coming through, it will knock out the Walrein, and now either we can knock out this Cricketune with a Rage Hits, or they throw a Charge Attack. What is it going to be? Is it X-Scissor again? I don't even know. Okay, Aerial Ace. There we go. Now we know the moveset. Apparently it's Aerial Ace and X-Scissor. The more you know, I guess. I don't even know. But we're able to survive the ace here on Jumpluff as well, get to another ace on our own Shadow Jumpluff, and take the win in a very spicy game number 1. Next matchup here, one of the best leads we could see. Jumpluff is everywhere in this meta, so having such a hard answer to that Pokemon is always fantastic, and look at that. It's going to be a Furret as a safe swap. I have to imagine right now, I've seen Jumpluff, I've seen Furret. I posted a video yesterday about a team that I ran that did very well for me with Arctibax as the third. If that is the case, our opponent is in a lot of trouble right now because Auroras does kind of core break that team. And also, as you're going to see here, well, Shadow Primeape is not the most, hard counter to this Pokemon. If you have 2 shields, you just go for 1 Rage to farm all the way down, and you'll have nearly back-to-back charge moves ready to go against whatever tries to farm you down. I feel like at this point, if it is that Arctibax in the backline, they're going to be forced into shielding this Ice Punch, but maybe they don't even know about Ice Punch on Primeape. They let it go. It one-shots the Shadow Jumpluff, and now there it is, Arctibax in the backline. This is where Ice Punch is just so useful on Shadow Primeape. Rage Fist being thrown out draws the first shield here from Arctibax. Rage Fist number 2, they have to shield this. I'm a very boosted Primeape. If they let this go, I can just farm them all the way down. They do let it go, nearly one-shotting the remaining HP of Arctibax. And since we know they don't have a nice nuke move that is Dragon type, we can survive this Dragon Claw, go for a full Powder Snow down. Jumpluff, I guess, gets to take a break in this game, and we're able to win thanks to our core breaker there. GG to our opponent. Next matchup, Macargo in the lead. A bit of an awkward Pokemon, honestly, although I bet if you get 2 baits off with these Weather Balls, it's not as bad as it might seem, although they can go for Rock Tomb, debuffs and make it so over time I'm going to do a lot less damage. This matchup could be a little bit awkward. I do get debuffed here. I'm going to go for a very risky bait. If I can get this off, though, I can start outpacing to Meteor Beams. Let's see what our opponent is going to do. We do get a shield here. Fantastic stuff. If they would have called that, that's probably game over on the spot. But in comes now our Meteor Beam into the Macargo. This move comes through. It does draw the shield from this Fire-type Pokemon, and now it's looking like I can actually shield this, or, I guess letting it go works out too, because I might have been able to reach a Meteor Beam there, but I'm going to play it just a bit safer and try to invest in our Shadow Primeape with a shield advantage, but they instantly swap out. I wanted to farm down against that Macargo. They opted to come in instantly, though, with this Grumpig instead, which is a little bit awkward. I don't have a hard answer to this on my team, which means I'm going to have to take a Shadow Ball here. And I also see exactly what they're doing right now. They're actually playing a very smart game where they are trying their best to now bait out my Jumpluff and make it so they can farm me down once again with that Macargo. I don't like that. I don't want to let it happen, so I'm going to fully undercharge this Aerial Ace here, put them into a Karate Chop downrange, because I don't want to give that Macargo any extra energy if I can help it. Dynamic Punch going to come through. It doesn't quite knock us out, and in comes that Macargo. So at this point, they're only going to get 1 Incinerate of energy. I should be able to Karate Chop all the way down, but it really comes down to what their final Pokemon is going to be here. Incinerate is going to do a lot of damage. We know Shadow Prime is pretty squishy, and likely a Rock Tomb going to come through to lower my attack stat. Rock Tomb being thrown, it basically would have knocked us out here. Unfortunately, we take one more Incinerate. Not great here. Primeape is down into the yellow, nearly into the red, and that Grumpig is still around too, so needs to be something in the backline that we can one-shot to have any chance. I mean, it kinda is, but we have to dump all of our energy into the Shadow Jumpluff right now. Rage Fist will boost our attack stat back up one stage, but because we're debuffed, we are not able to one-shot them until we reach another Ice Punch, and at this point, our HP is so low, I think we just get Psywave down here. It's gonna be close, but in comes that Grumpig. They survive on 1 HP, and they can take the win against us in that game. GG to our opponent. Next game, though, back to another fantastic lead. Jumpluff is everywhere in this meta, so I love to see it. In the back, going to be another Arctibac safe swap. We've seen this team earlier, at least probably it's going to be the same team that we saw earlier in the video with a Furret in the back line. But because I know Primeape is such a strong Pokemon into this whole team, all I need to do is go for a single shield farm all the way down. Once again, if they're not expecting Ice Punch on Shadow Primeape, I can just cleanly one-shot the Jumpluff. And I mean, even if they are, I get my shield back, I'm going to be able to force them to throw energy against us before I get to a second Ice Punch as well. So this is a very good matchup for us right now. In comes that Jumpluff. We're able to go for a potential CMP on the Ice Punch, but they don't go for it. They overfarm, which means now either they're going to shield this or get one-shot. Jumpluff, no shields, we one-shot them, and of course, it's the Furret in the back line. I guess I accidentally just created a hard counter to my own team here, but you love to see it because right now, we are putting in so much work with our entire team. Furret is not even a strong Pokemon into any of my 3 Pokemon here, right? Aurora's able to survive a lot of the Sucker Punch damage, force him to throw Trailblazes. Our Shadow Jumpluff as well is able to just take 2 Swifts here, and Shadow Primeape obviously is one of the best Pokemon into normal typing Pokemon in the game, which makes it so my team is very strong into one of the most common Pokemon in the meta. They're staying in this game. I guess at this point, they don't realize how over it is. I still have 3 Pokemon left. I have a full HP of Auroras in the back line, as well as a bit of HP on my Shadow Primeape, and I can survive this Swift here. So they are playing this one out. Let's see what's going to happen here. Swift doesn't quite knock us out. I'm going to try to Karate Chop down. It does not quite work there. I just let my Primeape die for no reason, but we can fair win down the Furret, and we take the win there. GG to our opponent. All right, next game. We've seen this a little bit earlier today. Bit of an awkward lead matchup, but I guess for some reason they swap out here, maybe trying to bait out a Jumpluff, and they will successfully bait mine out, but not before I make a catch on what is almost certainly going to be a Dynamic Punch. They do throw the Fighting-type Charge Move. It is resisted into my Flying-type Pokemon, which is fantastic. We have a lot of energy on Auroras, and we also are going to be able to survive another Charge Move here, saying that Shadow Ball is non-stab. In comes the Shadow Ball. It does put us deep into the red, but we have back-to-back Aerial Ace, and while I could go for Acrobatics to one-shot them here, I want to segment my damage up into 2 parts. That way, in case they shield, I'm going to be able to get at least some damage off. And also, if I want to make sure that they can't get a huge farm down with that Macargo, what I can do here is potentially stall out the Switch Clock by throwing those 2 moves. But they actually end up shielding the attack there, which honestly, I'm fine with. I don't need Switch against a Rock-type Pokemon. I have my Auroras with Meteor Beam that I could get a massive amount of damage into them, and I also have my Fighting-type Pokemon in the back line. So now that we have 100 energy here, we should be in a fantastic spot. Our opponent thinking for a second, who do they want to take 100 energy from a Shadow Auroras on? They come in with a Feraligatr. I didn't see if that was Shadow or not. If this is Shadow, they're about to get one shot though, right? In comes Meteor Beam, down goes the Shadow Gator. That's just how crazy Meteor Beam is as a move. In comes another Meteor Beam. If they don't shield this Macargo is gonna get deleted. Auroras throwing the move, one-shotting Macargo. That is crazy. GG to our opponent. Love to see it. Next matchup, the mirror match. A fellow person of culture using the Shadow Auroras. We're going to try our best here to bait or potentially call baits from our opponent. I do win CMP, which is nice to see here. They must have a pretty good Shadow Auroras if I end up winning CMP, because I also got a pretty decent one myself today. So we'll have to see what they end up going for. We instantly full sent a Meteor Beam, and they ended up shielding. We call the Weather Ball bait, so we are both playing the game out, or the match out here, as properly as we can. And in comes another move. I know at that point, they threw so early. That's just another Weather Ball. And in the backline, going to be a Golisopod. I'm going to build up a little bit of extra energy here and then come in with my hard answer of my Shadow Jumpluff. I know that 2X Scissors won't knock us out. I can overfarm a lot of energy here and potentially come out of this matchup with an Acrobatics for that Auroras. I also have my Shadow Primeape in the backline, that as long as it gets to avoid the, like, whatever their anti-fighter is going to be, we should be in a good spot. And if I can line it up into the Auroras as well, that would be even better for us. In comes an Aerial Ace. I'm hoping this knocks out the Golisopod. It will be enough damage. I have an Acrobatics ready to go. In comes Auroras. I'm able to throw it here before they can Powder Snow us down, and this should do a hefty amount of chip damage. Swap in my Shadow Primeape, and what is our opponent going to do? They come in with what they are hoping to be a hard answer to a Fighting-type Pokemon, but once again, Ice Punch as coverage just one-shots the Shadow Jumpluff, and we're able to win the game. That's why Ice Punch on Shadow Primeape is just such a stupid coverage option. I love it. Next game here, we're going to see a Grumpig in the lead of Pokemon that obviously does have access to that charge move Dynamic Punch, but their fast move pressure isn't going to be able to fast move us down, at least not as quickly as they'd like. I can reach Meteor Beams, I can start boosting my attack stat up, and potentially dancing around in this game. In comes our first Meteor Beam, guaranteeing either a near knockout or at least an attack boost. We basically knock them out. They swap out to Furret, and now I'm going to build up a bit of energy, try to catch a move if I can on our Jumpluff. Tried to catch a Trailblaze, did not quite work out, but the thing is I have so much energy on my Auroras in the backline, and I mean, I could have brought in my Primeape here, but I was already down a shield, so I feel like that wouldn't be the best matchup in the world. Instead, I'm going to just tank all of the energy here on our Jumpluff and try to use Energy Lead on our Auroras in the backline to maybe sweep this game. In comes our first Acrobatics. Do they want a shield? Will they let us go? They let one nuke through this game. They let another nuke through already, and their final Pokemon revealed as a Clodsire. Honestly, a little bit of a tricky Pokemon here. If they get a farm down, then we're in a bit of a bad spot, right? Because the energy on Clodsire goes a long ways into Auroras, into Primeape as well, and the farm down from our Jumpluff would be very bad for us. With that said, once again, all the energy on our Auroras able to be thrown into this ground-type Pokemon, and that was only a Sludge, I think. That was just 6 Poison Stings. I'm able to go and try to... they snap us down with a Psywave. That's a little bit sad, but we should still be in a pretty good spot here, because despite the fact that they did that, Ice Punch Primeape, it's still a Pokemon that I have, right? I can go for this Ice Punch, I can try to do about half of their HP if they end up letting this go, and now that they have let that through, I can go for Rage Fist, which should be able to put them into either Karate Chop downrange, or at the very least, draw their final shield. We're pretty close to another Aerial Ace as well on our Shadow Jumpluff, so we should be in a very good spot. Rage Fist being thrown. Our opponent at this point might let this go. No, they are holding on to a little bit of hope. I don't think they have much of a chance here, though, because our Jumpluff has a move almost loaded, and we almost had a move on our Primeape. So at this point, Clodsire will go down to the Grass-type Pokemon, and we're able to very comfortably take the win in that game. Next matchup, we're going to see Auroras in the lead into Shadow Jumpluff. Who would have thought? This is one of the best matchups we can be in. We've seen it many times today. They say swap, though, a bit of a tricky matchup here. We don't have a hard answer to Blastoise, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with our Pokemon that resists Rock-type damage, which is what their Fast Food Pressure is, and Shield start ramping up with our Shadow Primeape and see what we can do. I'm hoping that maybe they want to shield an early move because it could be a close combat, but our opponent very wisely calls a bait with our Rage Fist here. Unfortunately for us, they are able to reach another charge move, and because Primeape is so squishy, I will be forced into shielding this move, but the thing is, Primeape is also so squishy, which means it's also so offensive. I'm able to get a full Karate Chop down, and we know what happens when Jumpluff comes in to an Ice Punch Shadow Primeape. If they don't know that I have this move, they're gone. They didn't get one shot, and comes the Clodsire as their final Pokemon, so yeah, we're in a very good spot this game. We're able to go now for a Rage Fist, which should be able to draw a shield. They see my Ice Punch, they know they can't take a boosted Ice Punch, so now we can get to yet another Ice Punch here. Our opponent is going to have to shield yet again. We still have our Aurora, so we have a full HP Shadow Jumpluff in the backline. I'm going to play it safe, go for the Rage Fist, but they actually overfarmed. If I wanted to, I could have gone for the Ice Punch there. I wasn't expecting our opponent to be that greedy, but still, we're able to get a massive amount of damage just with a Rage Fist of all things, putting them deep into the yellow and into range where our own Aurora should come back in, go for a Weather Ball, and potentially knock them out. That was just a Stone Edge. I know I survived this move. Even if I didn't, though, it's not like Jumpluff couldn't finish off this game. And because I survived that move so comfortably, why not? Let's go for the Meteor Beam. It's a very fun move to throw. Don't get to throw this move too often. And how often can you knock out a Clodsire with it there? GG to our opponent. Very fun match. Next game, going to see Shadow Auroras into Shadow Jumpluff. Man, this is everywhere today. You love to see it. It comes under Rangaroo as their safe swap. I can go for a Chip and Dip here, go for a Weather Ball, and then come in Shadow Jumpluff. The thing is, while they do have a lot of neutral play into Jumpluff, it's honestly kind of sad how little damage they end up doing. Try to catch a Trailblaze on our Grass type, but it doesn't quite work out. But even still, none of the charges they're going to throw, at least that they commonly run, will do that much damage to me. Brutal Swing, it does so little damage, I can overfarm to nearly 100 energy here and have an Acrobatics ready to go if they come back in with that Jumpluff. In comes a Brutal Swing. It does do a decent chunk of our HP. I have another Aerial Ace ready to go, and now at this point, our opponent is going to either have to shield this move or potentially get knocked out. They shield, which is very interesting. I guess with that shield, if they want a double shield, they could in fact go for a full farm down against us, but I'm fine taking 2 shields to 0, saying Jumpluff wants nothing to do with our Shadow Primeape. In comes our Acrobatics. I guess I could have gone for Aerial Ace. Wait, they no shield? Okay, definitely should have gone for Aerial Ace. Now I might get farmed down before I get another move. Yeah, that was maybe a little bit greedy of me to flex with an Acrobatics. It's still fine, though. We're in a good spot. We have an energy lead of Auroras. We have a Shadow Primeape into a Furret. This game is looking pretty over for our opponent. In comes a charge move. We've been shielding Swifts all day. You can no-shield the Swift here in the one-shield matchup and survive, but you can see just how much damage that does. It's honestly a bit of a surprising amount, right? Saying it's just a neutral charge move, but that's because of how squishy Shadow Primate is. In comes our Ice Punch. We draw a shield from our opponent, and now while I could shield our Primate to finish off this Ferret, I also know the other win condition is just no-shield this, come in with our Auroras, knock this Pokemon out, have 2 shields for that jump bluff, and there's almost nothing that a grass and flying type Pokemon can do against an ice and rock type. Weather Ball knocks them out here. Once again, if you ever have the chance, just go for the Meteor Beam. This move is so satisfying. You're going to smite this jump bluff down, back to Earth here. Meteor Beam comes through, knocks them out, and we can take the win in that game. All right, next game. Shadow Auroras into a Piloswine in the lead. Very interesting matchup to see. Happy to see this away from potentially our jump bluff. And because I know they have to go for a high horsepower here to potentially do real damage to us, I'm going to shield up this move and hope they don't bait. They go for... Okay, I completely forgot they had Bulldoze, actually. That's not a great move, though. Bulldoze not going to be able to one-shot us, so thankfully no defense drop there, but, you know, it's going to be able to outpace us, which is not amazing, but I can survive this Bulldoze. Overfarm just a little bit of energy. Go for the Weather Ball here in just a second. They go for Bulldoze. Honestly, more damage than I would have thought, and they come in with the Primeape here as a safe swap. We do take a Karate Chop on our Ice and Rock type, which does do quite a bit of damage, but we still have a lot of HP, a lot of energy left over, so I think we're still in a pretty good spot. They go for a Rage Fist. The thing is, I know about Ice Punch. I don't want to be the sucker that no-shields an Ice Punch on my jump bluff, so I'm going to still instantly throw this move. I want them out of here before they can one-shot me with a potential surprise attack, and now in comes that Piloswine once again. We have Acrobatics ready to go. This will knock them out if they let this go, and if they shield, then I have a Meteor Beam in the backline that can potentially one-shot something else this game, and look at that. They get a little greedy here. We're able to reach an Aerial Ace into this Piloswine, which might just be enough damage to knock them out. Ace comes through it, knocks out the Pilo, in the backline is a Shadow Drifblim. Guess what I'm about to do? Meteor Beam to close out the game. This move is so fun to use, able to easily one-shot the Shadow Drifblim here. We don't even need our Primeape. Down goes the balloon. GG to our opponent. Next game, Shadow Auroras into regular Auroras. Let's see if we can play out the mirror matchup properly. It is a very hit-or-miss mirror matchup where if you call the moves properly, it can be very good for you. But if you make the wrong calls, it can just be instantly a game loss. So we'll see what we can do. Weather Ball bait being thrown instantly. Our opponent, they call it this time. Not great for us. Very good call by them. And now I think I have to make a call myself. I'm going to shield the Meteor Beam. Very good call by us here. Man, imagine if I would have full sent a Meteor Beam. That could have been basically instantly game over. But we're still in a spot where we at least have a little bit of play, I guess. We can go for a Weather Ball here in just a second. Draw the shield from this Pokemon with that bait, which is nice. I'm going to shield once again. I feel like they're going to full send, and fortunately for us, they do end up double full sending here. So good shields by me, but honestly, at this point, they have put us into a range where a Weather Ball at double boosted damage would do a decent chunk of our HP. I CMP on the Weather Ball, we do knock them out, and in comes a Shadow Machamp. Now, Machamp, it is a very scary Pokemon for my backline, especially because they could have Stone Edge, but I go for the Weather Ball here, I swap into Shadow Jumpluff, and they swap out into Shadow Pidgeot. I'm thinking right now, there is actually a chance we can win this game. I know Pidgeot, if it's not running the move Brave Bird, they can't one-shot us with a charge move. In fact, I was looking it up, Gust, or rather Air Cutter, only does about 40% of a Shadow Jumpluff's HP. We're able to survive the move here, get a full Fairy Wind farm down, and have another charge move ready for the Machamp. So while Machamp could have potentially been very bad for our backline, instead Shadow Jumpluff is just able to sweep here. We're able to knock them out. I guess not quite a one-shot, but still able to win the game there. GG to our opponent. Next game is going to be a Charjabug, a Pokemon that our Rock type does kind of like to see, but also it's not the most comfortable matchup in the world. Another Safe Swap or Ranguru, and we don't have a hard answer to this. I was going to try to go for a Meteor Beam and swap, but they do wisely throw a Brutal Swing before we can swap out. With that said, I can still build up energy, put them into range where an Acrobatics here for my Shadow Jumpluff could be enough to knock them out. And because at this point we know it's that Charjabug that was in the lead, my Acrobatics into that Pokemon is also going to do a lot of damage. I'm going to shield. You might be like, why the heck did he shield that move? The reason being, I thought they might be on Future Sight. The way that they threw an instant Brutal Swing into my Auroras and then overfarmed so much energy here, I thought maybe they weren't running Trailblaze, but I shielded a freaking Brutal Swing, so that's not a great idea. But I was thinking, maybe there's a chance they're on Future Sight. Bit of a misplay by me there, but we're still in a good spot because we have Acrobatics ready to go against this Charjabug. If they shield this up, I have Meteor Beam as well. If they no-shield, look at how much damage that ends up doing. I can swap into my Auroras, go for a Weather Ball, and I can hope at this point they don't have a hard answer to our Ice and Rock-type Pokemon. They let them move through, and in the backline, a Shadow Drifblim. Interesting. I would have thought that if they had this in the backline, they would have wanted to shield their Charjabug, but at this point, I get so much fast food pressure here with my Powder Snows, as well as both shields with my Weather Balls. In comes the second charge move, likely going to draw that second shield, and once this shield goes down, I know that our Shadow Primate is in a fantastic spot to close out this backline. With that said, I do want to drain energy from them. I don't want to be debuffed with my Primate before I can throw a Rage Fist into them here, so I'm going to force them to throw energy into my Jump Bluff, and then come in with my Primate, go instantly for a Rage Fist, and we can easily knock out this balloon. They realize that, they top left, GG to our opponent. Next game is a Toxapex in the lead. Honestly, not a great lead matchup here, right? A water type that has a lot of play into my backline. And while I do resist the poison jabs here, I'm going to Shadow Aurora. So I'm going to take a decent amount of damage here from a Brine, and I don't really like that, but I feel like at this point, I will just have to let the move go if they let the move go. Because I don't even know what's in the back at this point. I'm happy landing that move. Now they're in range where Acrobatics or maybe Rage Fist plus Karate Chop could knock them out over time, and they end up coming in with a Dugong. This is a good spot to be in for a Shadow Primate, but it seems like they are obviously trying to bait out a fighting type Pokemon right now. They had a big anti-fighter in the lead. They had something weak to fighting as a safe swap. Maybe double ice, maybe like a Furret in the backline. If it's a Furret, we're in a good spot. If it's double ice, that could potentially be catastrophic because where would I be able to place my Jump Bluff this game? I do outpace them here to the next Rage Fist. They could shield us up if they want to, but I would be a little bit surprised if they did. Yeah, they do let the move go, but they did a decent amount of fast food pressure here into my Primate. They once again come back into the Toxapex, which I think will survive this move. It's not ideal, but they do survive just enough here to be able to get a ton of damage into us with fast food pressure. And while I do have this Rage Fist for the final Pokemon, it is an Auroras, which means my Jump Fluff was triple hard countered in this game. There might still be a little bit of play because those two Karate Chops did about a third of their HP, which is fantastic to see, but I feel like their win condition is pretty clear. All they need to do right now is call the fact that I don't have Energy Ball. I think I can just barely survive a Weather Ball if they don't throw a Meteor Beam. They do Weather Ball us here, which I guess gives us a sliver of play. We're able to reach this next charge attack. If they shield, maybe I can win, but they no shield. Now I have to go for a farm down if I want any chance here, but I know there's no chance of that. They're going to have me here. They're almost at a Weather Ball, almost at back-to-back, actually, which means that we're going to get knocked out here in just a second, and unfortunately for us, we're going to lose this game. Weather Ball number 1 being thrown, and Weather Ball number 2 going to be following shortly after. I have to hope that they don't have the energy, but yeah, of course they do. They're at the next move, and because Auroras is able to get knocked out by this, our opponent will take the win in this game. GG to our opponent. Next matchup is going to be Shadow Auroras. Yikes. Okay, this is probably one of the worst things we could see here. Shadow type Explosion's good against Auroras. It's good into Jump Bluff. If they stayed in that lead matchup, it actually could have, or in the safe swap rather, against my Shadow Primate, it could have been pretty bad. But they swap out. They give us a little bit of wiggle room right now, and the way that I can see myself having any sort of play is if I can get a shield advantage, or at the very least just getting one single shield from this Golisopod. If I can get one shield here, I'm in a great spot. If I can get both, I think I just win this game, or at least have a much better chance at it. We are going to go for the Rage Fist. They don't let it go. They shield the move. I have a second Rage Fist ready to go. If they shield a second time, I am feeling so good about my odds of winning this game. I come in Jump Bluff here. They come in Shadow type Typhlosion, but the thing is, I can outpace now to this Acrobatics. I can one-shot this Fire type Pokemon, and then that Golisopod, which is still around, might be a little bit annoying, but it's not going to be able to one-shot us with an X-Scissor, and their final Pokemon is revealed as a Diggersby. It's looking like a very bad situation has turned into a much more playable one right now, thanks to leveraging Acrobatics on Shadow Jump Bluff. That's why I love Acrobatics so much. Very hard-hitting move here. Does a massive amount of damage as well into this Diggersby. I think I can survive this Fire Punch, maybe even get to another Acrobatics against them. Let's see if we are able to, just barely able to hang on, reach this Acrobatics, and while there is still a Golisopod with some energy in the backline, I'm pretty sure Auroras is going to be able to survive a single Aqua Jet here, go for a Weather Ball, and we should be able to come back from one of the worst leads imaginable. Aqua Jet comes through, it gets our first shield, Aqua Jet number 2 being thrown. This will put us deep into the red, but I know we're not in fast food farm down range, not before we can reach this Weather Ball, and we're able to finish off this Golisopod here. GG to our opponent, Shadow Typhlosion, an extremely threatening Pokemon to this team, but I guess there's always a chance here in the Go Battle League. All right, next game, going to see Shadow Auroras into a Grumpig, very neutral lead matchup. We've seen this earlier today, where if I land a Meteor Beam, it does a critical amount of damage, basically one-shots them, and if they shield it up, then I can boost my attack and start going for Weather Balls in the extended scenario, so we'll see how our opponent's going to play this out. In comes an instant Dynamic Punch. I will shield. They come in instantly with a Shadow Annihilate, very quick swap by me there, just took 2 counters from a Shadow Annihilate on our Auroras, taking about, I think that was probably a third of our HP gone with 2 fast moves. Not great. And they do have Ice Punch, which means we double shield very early on in this matchup. But I think we will get our shields back here with these 2 Aerial Aces. Or maybe they'll let it go. Maybe they're fine with a 2 shield advantage. Ace comes through and knocks out the Annihilate, which is very nice to see, because honestly, that could have been a bit tricky for our backline to take out, but we'll see what they want to do now. In comes that Grumpig. We have Acrobatics ready to go. If they shield up this move, then at least I get one shield back. If they end up letting it go, then it's a 3-on-1. So yeah, they're forced into a shield here. I'm now going to swap out into Roscoe for a Meteor Beam and hope at this point that they no shield. Meteor Beam comes through, one-shots the Grumpig. Their final Pokemon is revealed as a Furret. This is a fantastic spot to be in. We're a boosted Aurorus at this point. Even Weather Ball is going to start adding up against them. They do have to shield. If I can get a second one off, we're in a really good spot. Even if I couldn't, though, I still have a very healthy Jumpluff as well as a Fighting-type Pokemon in the backline. We can just barely reach this charge move. We don't quite knock out against the Furret, but we can bring in our Primeape here, survive a Swift, and reach a Rage Fist to close out this game. It reaches the Swift, it does a decent chunk of our HP, but we're able to close out the game here just barely with our Shadow Primeape pulling in the back. Love to see that. But yeah, this Shadow Aurorus, honestly, very strong Pokemon in the Retro Cup without access to Steel-type Pokemon to wall all of your energy. Meteor Beam is just such a stupid move. It's a lot of damage, boosts your attack every single time you throw it, and with Aurorus, you're able to spam out Weather Balls after the fact, so very fun Pokemon to use. I definitely recommend this team if you have a good Shadow Aurorus that you get in this event. Alright, well, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed the battles and you want to see more content like this on the channel, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. It helps out the channel a ton, and I would really appreciate it. Thank you again for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.